Thank you for such a warm welcome. And to dwell and to conquer is really the essence of life. And easy shabdon mein, we can call it, to mess around and to find out. But sometimes in life, we wish we hadn't found out. Curiosity killed the cat. Ignorance is bliss. Kyun pata lagana hai? What you don't know can't hurt you. A little legend around this same sentiment is of Pandora's box. So Pandora, the first mortal woman in Greek mythology, she was breathed into life by the god of fire. And upon her birth, she was given many gifts. She was supposed to be intelligent, empathetic, and a bunch of other things. But those सबसे important gifts that this woman got were her curiosity and this one box, a beautiful box with amazing carvings on it that she was never supposed to open. Pandora lived her life exploring Earth, exploring life, learning new things. She was so fond of learning. Given her gift of curiosity, she wanted to figure everything out for herself. Eventually, her curiosity got the best of her, and she was drawn to that box that she was told never to open. She could swear she heard voices coming from the box that would call her name out, whispers at night asking for her to open it, but she had been putting that urge away for so long. But this day, it finally got the best of her. She went to the box and she took a tiny little peek. And just as she opened it only a crack, all the evil spirits and evil things in the world rushed out of the box and filled the planet around her. She was mortified. She tried to close the box. She tried to reverse what had been done. She shouldn't have looked inside to find out all the evil that was being hidden from her. As long as she didn't know about it, it didn't hurt her. But that does not mean it did not exist. She got herself together, gathered her thoughts, and took a second attempt to the box. She peeked inside again. This time in the box, at the end of everything evil, there was a glowing light, and that light was hope. Now, what do we learn from this story? Sometimes it may be comfortable or appear so to not know certain things about ourselves, about our life, about our partners. I mean, a lot of us wish we hadn't gone through their phones, but it got us where we are today. But eventually, it is more important to dwell onto what you have discovered and learn things that will give you the skill set to be able to conquer those challenges or evils that you may have indirectly unleashed. As a transgender person, I've lived my life in a role that I didn't necessarily feel comfortable in. I've lived as a boy, not because I was scared to be who I was, but because I was scared to hurt the people I love. I was scared to risk the name that my family had made for itself. I was scared to hurt my parents and the questions they would be asked in family gatherings. And all these fears kept me from being who I was truly for a very, very long time. I didn't even want to find out what was the possibility for me. And I put the thought of it aside for as long as I could. But eventually, ignoring what I wanted to do and wanted to know and wanted to explore started to hurt me. It cost me academics, it cost me my social life. I didn't want to be friends with anyone. I was super insecure. And then eventually, I took the leap of faith and I sat down with my mother and I told her, this is not working for me. Raja Beta has worked for 16 years, not anymore, we need to intervene. And I started a new chapter in life, a chapter that I knew nothing about, but felt so truly drawn to that it was almost impossible for me to not explore or dwell upon. Now, becoming a woman, especially a woman given the cultural surroundings that we are raised in, I was raised to be a good kid, acha bacha, achhi aurat. These are the values that are catered to very deeply in our society. And one of the things where goodness becomes suffering is because people are often taught that to be a good woman or to be a good person, you have to not ask for anything. The kid that doesn't ask for toys or cry for toys is the good kid. The wife that never complains is the good wife. The bahu that never complains is the good bahu. The mother that never complains about how bearing children is difficult is the best mother in the world. And there is this indirect link between your ability to be able to starve yourself being your meter of goodness. And this is what I carried with me. So for the longest time in my life, I did not say no. I did not ask why, and I most definitely did not ask for help. Now, this was easy for a certain time. You don't ask for help and you're fine, and you feel like it would only come up in small places like, okay, class mein padhte I have a doubt and I'm scared to ask the teacher. But eventually it grows into bigger things. When I was comfortable with myself enough to explore the world of dating and relationships, I realized how important it is to be able to ask for what you want. And so often, I was afraid of what would be the answer if I express my needs, that I never asked my needs or expressed my needs. And this has cost me so many friendships, relationships, even jobs. You know, so many of us think that once we're prepared enough, that's when we're going to give the interview, or that's when we're going to take the job. Once we're, थोड़ा सा stamina build हो जाएगा, तब जिम में जाएंगे, वरना वहाँ पे तो सारे 6-6 फुट के और मैं अकेली थक जाऊंगी ट्रेडमिल पे. You're so scared. And we often wait to be perfectly prepared to tackle a situation, but the reality is the human brain learns on the job. Learn on the job and you'll be good at it. If you wait for the perfect timing, it's never going to happen. The biggest lie that I was told is that if you're a good person, good things will come to you. Moral sciences, fairy tales. I get my name from the fairy tale of Cinderella. And I idolized her a lot. And I saw how she, suffered her entire life, slaved away, and then eventually a fairy godmother came because she was a good person. And I waited on my fairy godmother for 17 years. And then eventually, after a couple heartbreaks, I had to be my own. I had to dwell upon my own hardships. I had to dwell upon my own problems, and I had to conquer them on my own, which was difficult and not as cinematic and not as romantic as a fairy tale, but it worked for me, and it will work for you. You have to understand what you're capable of and what you're worthy of is often being dictated by factors that aren't in your control. I always tell this story. Every person in this room, छोटी से लेकर बड़ी से बड़ी तक, we have an insecurity. If it's your face, your eyes, your nose, your height, your clothes, whatever it is. But ask yourself this. Did you have this insecurity before somebody else gave it to you? Were you too small, too big, too tall, too short before somebody told you you were? And the answer is always no. And so all fears and anxieties and insecurities can be traced down to this root factor where they were instilled in you. And it's not human to fear things other than loud noises and heights. That's all that we were given for survival, and everything else is learned. And so to really dwell upon your life and understand where your fears come from, it may unleash some demons. It may make you realize that some people that you thought were good weren't as good. It may cause you to lose friends when you eventually realize that, hey, I'm being taken advantage of just because I'm a good person who never says no. It may cause you to, have to give up on a certain job that's not fulfilling you in a way that it used to before. And it's very, very difficult. Dwelling and conquering के बीच में आती है suffering. And it is very, very unavoidable. But that is the core of human existence, is to be able to grow from our suffering. People always say this as a transgender person. They say कि मैंने अपनी default settings change करवाई हैं and I am doing something that isn't natural. But this is something that is so powerful. As human beings, we are the only creatures on this planet that possess the ability to move away from our biological blueprint. We can change our reality. We can take charge of our narratives, and that is our gift. And to be able to do that, you have to ask the big questions. You have to take the risks. You have to dwell. For curiosity may have killed the cat, but the entire quote is, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. And so, having difficult conversations, taking risks will unleash demons. But again, there will always be a beacon of hope at the end that you have to put your trust in to be able to face them wholeheartedly. Thank you.